Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets. Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, March the 2nd. Race number 6 at Gulfstream Park, going 5/8 of a mile on the turf. Optional claiming race. And Mike, there are some hard hitters in this field. Let's take a look. There's a grade 1 winner in here, the number 2 Gretzky the Great, making his seasonal debut for Mark Casse. He won the Summer Stakes as a 2-year-old. You've got Shecky Shabazz, who was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint in 2019, and a nice surrounding cast as well.
Yeah, I think in some ways there is some talent here, Dan. I feel like in some ways the pace might wind up being key to this whole thing. Shecky Shabazz, who's 3-1 on the line. I mean, he's a speed horse. He's probably going to try to head off towards the front again. Into the Sunrise is off of a layoff and a trainer change here, but he's also a speed horse.
You said a mouthful about the pace. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Shecky Shabazz is a speed horse, and he might hold his speed a little bit better in this race with his last race under his girth. That was his first race since August. He is very dangerous when he gets loose on the lead, and that just wasn't the situation last time out.
It wasn't, and as you mentioned, he had a little layoff to deal with there, so maybe that's just enough of an excuse for you to want to give him one more chance here after blowing that clear lead to a 1,000,000-to-1 shot last time. We'll see. As you mentioned, this horse did run 3rd in the Breeders' Cup. That was 3 Breeders' Cups ago, Dan, when he was trained by a guy who's probably on his way to jail. I don't know. This horse is fine. He can obviously win this race. I'm not a big fan.
Natural Power, the number 1 stakes placed in his career, was that 1,000,000-to-1 shot that ran down Shecky Shabazz in this race at Gulfstream on February the 2nd, going 5/8 of a mile. We take a look, and Shecky Shabazz turns into the stretch. He's dispatched the other pace horse for now, and we see a Natural Power coming from last to first. He's got a long way to come, but he runs them all down.
Yeah, he's not going to get into your picture until very late, but he's just staying on the best here. Shecky Shabazz is fighting for it, Dan. He just doesn't have enough left in the tank. He can't even hold second. This horse, comes from last and runs everybody down off of the layoff in that race. That's really the best race he's ever run. We'll see if he can repeat it.
Race hasn't come back very strong just yet. It'll be interesting to see if he gets a similar fast pace and contested pace up front that would naturally aid his late kick. The 2 is Gretzky the Great. He did win the grade 1 summer as a 2-year-old at Keeneland. He had a productive year last year. He won the Greenwood Stakes over the summer. His last race was the Toronto Cup. He was the beaten favorite going a 1-turn mile at Woodbine that day. The 3rd horse came back to run 2nd in the Breeders' Stakes, the 3rd jewel of the Canadian Triple Crown on turf with an 85. Then 2nd in the Ontario Derby on synth with an 85. He's kept good company. What about turning back to 5?
Yeah, he's an interesting horse in this race. The distance would be the real question for me, Dan, but it's not like he's slow early. So perhaps he'll be able to keep this pace and range, even going 5 off the layoff. I mean, this is a horse who back in 2020, before he won the grade 1 summer, he ran down into the Sunrise going 6.5 in a stakes race at Woodbine, and he's sprinted once since then. That was another stakes win at Woodbine going 7. 5 might be a little sharp for him, but I feel like he's a pretty dangerous horse in here.
The number 3, Bright Devil, is cutting all the way back from a 1.1 miles for trainer Michael DiPaolo. This horse has been claimed out of his last 2 races. He was stakes placed going a mile over Yielding Going at Gulfstream last year. Sort of just been picking his way through these claiming races recently. So not only is he stepping up in class off the claim, but he's turning all the way back in distance. And I'm concerned this distance is a bit sharp. He sprinted twice when he first came to the States, and those races were merely okay.
Yeah, they were merely okay. You're right about that. One of them was in a really tough spot. His stateside debut, a grade 3 at Belmont Park going 6. He made a little run into that race, Dan, then he got tired in the stretch. The only other time they sprinted him was off of a relatively long layoff. So I don't know. I feel like maybe cutting back could actually work for this horse. I just wonder if he's good enough.
A runner-up from the last race came back to run a good third in a $50,000 claimer at Gulfstream on the lawn with an 83 buyer. Shecky Shabazz is up next, and what can you say? He's banked almost $500,000 in his career. We saw him finish third for Christophe Clement last time out, a little bit on his wrong lead for most of the way down to the stretch, but he might have needed that race, and simply if he gets to the lead, maybe his class will carry him. I'm not sure how short of a price I want to take, though.
Yeah, that would be my concern too. I would never bet him at a short price. But listen, I mean, he's a very easy horse to make a case for in this race. Second off the layoff now after getting tired in his first start back. He's clearly a major player in here, Dan. I've just never really liked him and don't want to bet him at a short price.
The number 5, Dalton, was multiple stakes placed on dirt as a 2-year-old. He'll be making his turf debut for a barn that's been doing very well recently with turf sprinters. Let's take a look at our DRF formulator fact. Jorge Duarte, past 250 days, turf sprints 35%, $4.66 ROI. Now, his sire, Cantharos, really specializes with these turf sprinters, it seems. He wins with 15% of them. I just don't see enough turf on the bottom of this pedigree to get me too excited.
That was my problem with him too. I actually feel like he's an okay little dirt horse. And you know, he's switching surfaces here. And listen, it's a good field. It's not a great field. So I feel like if he handles turf, he can definitely be effective in here. I just didn't see enough pedigree to get me that interested.
Into the Sunrise, stakes winner at Ellis Park on the 4th of July last year, will now make his first start for Mark Casse after this performance at Del Mar during the fall. This is a high-level optional claimer. It's only a 4-horse field, and Into the Sunrise got control of kind of a moderate pace early. I wonder if these horses were just a little bit too good for him, however. Beer Can Man, the winner, has come back to be twice graded stakes placed.
Yeah, it feels like they probably were just a little too good for him. Listen, Beer Can Man's a really nice horse, and he made Into the Sunrise work just a little bit up the backstretch to clear him to make it to the early lead. I still don't think it's a huge excuse for Into the Sunrise. He was just no match for that field that day. Is this an easier spot? It's probably a little bit easier, Dan. We'll see if this horse still has his speed off the trainer change in the layoff here.
Number 7, the Virginian, has hit the board in his last 3 races, including only being beaten ahead in the race we'll show you right now on December the 3rd, $62,500 optional claiming. Similar as this, we see him sitting just on the outside, getting ready to pounce. He eases outside the pace setter. He's going to come with a run, and he's just going to miss. This race was on December the 3rd. He was listed as a vet scratch on January the 5th, and 2 months later, he resurfaces in the entries.
Yeah, I mean, he ran fine in this race, but man, he didn't have any excuse in there. He got a great trip, made the lead late, and a horse came from last and ran him down. He's been right there, it feels like, in a lot of his races, that he likes to be around it at the end, and he can definitely sprint 5 furlongs. I just feel like this race is way tougher than the last one.
Kusina is making his synthetic to turf run now for trainer Michael Maker. This was right on the Sunshine Turf last time out. I'm just going to throw that race out. They stretched him all the way out from 6 to 9. They ran him on the synthetic surface. I don't think that's what he wants to do. He's back sprinting. His race 2 starts back at Aquerook, certainly competitive enough to win a race like this. He swung 4 wide into the upper stretch. He had a lot of momentum, and he flattened out.
Yeah, it looked like he had a real shot at that race. I remember betting him that day and thinking at the top of the stretch, this horse might win here. And he just wasn't good enough at the end there. That was a good field, though. The 2 races prior to that, sprinting on turf in Southern California, I thought he ran really well in both of those races. And I just like his running style for this race, Dan. You feel like Shecky Shabazz and Into the Sunrise are going to go. Maybe they set this race up for Christina, who likes to make one run from out of it.
Top pick time for our Wednesday DRF race of the day. We both agree, Mike. Casina, the 8. What price do you take?
The morning line price, I would take maybe a tick lower than that, but that's probably about it. Once again, though, mostly because I don't like Shecky Shabazz as the favorite. So it just feels like he'll take enough money to keep Christina's price about where it needs to be for me to bet him. I put Into the Sunrise second, but I'm actually a little bit more interested in Gretzky the Great. I'm worried about 5 for him, but I feel like he's a pretty good horse.
8672 for Mike, 8741 for me. It's the Wednesday DRF race of the day. Good luck.